Good evening. Tonight we have a special guest with us, but we want to start off now with our introductions. Of course, I'm Paula. I'm Paula. I'm the mom of Jeremy and Morgan. Of course, Morgan is my special needs daughter. At this point, I live in Maryland right now. I grew up in DC. And so, with that being said, turn it over to my ladies.
Hello, everybody. I am Bunny. I am in Maryland. I am married with three children, and I am an advocate for my grandson, Grayson, who is autistic and he's 6 years old.
Hello, everyone. I'm Crystal. I'm living here in Michigan, and I'm married with five children, and three of my children have disabilities.
Okay, so now we're going to turn it over to our special guest. If you guys don't know, it's my sexy, sexy husband, Harp. We're going to try to take it a little easy on him, but at the same time, he's under the interrogation light today. So we're just going to go ahead and give him a chance to tell us a little bit about himself.
Hello, I'm Harp. I'm born Walter Armstrong, but prefer Harp. I'm a father of now seven. Um, we're here to talk about Morgan, but she has plenty of brothers and sisters. She's met a few of them, still has to meet other few. Originated from Philadelphia. Uh, I'm a transplant. Moved here in 2017, October, and met my lovely wife a year later, October 2018. But that was just the start of things. We really didn't engage at that point. We met acquaintances, and through the COVID is when things moved forward. We ended up marrying in 2021 in June, and everything's been wonderful. And the Morgan experience has been great, as you'll find out.
Look at that big smile on wifey's face, though.
Sometimes I'm a little nervous about what he's going to say, so that's kind of like it is like a smile, but it's also a little nervousness because he can come out the pocket sometimes. It's nice.
It's
It's
okay, Harp.
surprising.
Come on out the pocket. It's okay.
No. Yeah, so we're gonna keep him in the pocket tonight. We don't want no surprises, okay? Yeah. Okay, so with that being said, babe, can you tell us, and I guess I'll start it off. Um, I know one of the things that I was a little hesitant about as far as getting married again is having Morgan. Of course, she's 19, she's special needs, she's nonverbal. So one thing I was a little nervous about is someone being able to accept her. And I won't say accept her because it's not always about what someone is going to accept her, but her also accept them. So I always felt a little uneasy about that because, of course, she can't speak so that we can hear her. But I will say during that time, she spoke loudly. She spoke very loud. And God put me in a position to be at peace because I saw the interactions between Morgan and Harp, and it was magical. So I will start off by saying, babe, tell me, like when we first started dating, I knew you knew about Morgan, but tell me what was your expectations?
I knew it would be a challenge.
Mhm.
I knew it would be a wonderful challenge because once I got the backstory from you on our long drives, I said Morgan deserves the love from a father like anyone else. And I've been a father for at that point over 32 years. My oldest is 34 now. So I was like, I could be that father that Morgan needs. I've had experience working with the special needs from professional in the professional world. Um, but to have a special needs daughter in the home with me, I knew that would be a challenge. And the biggest challenge for me was her getting used to me. Because we all know Morgan. She's not with the all in her face. Well, I came in the door all in her face.
All in her face.
All in her face. I said, "Oh, you're gonna get used to me. I ain't going nowhere." And And that was the osmosis of the situation was beautiful because she went from backing up to embracing and engaging me. And mom sat back and was taken aback, like, "Oh wow, how'd you do that?" I said, "I knew it would take a while." She thought that Morgan would be the tougher uh, relationship, not Jeremy. And Morgan was actually easy compared to the Jeremy situation, but everything went well. Everything's going well.
And I'm
That's
glad that you
awesome.
mentioned that too. I am glad that he mentioned that because I know that, we're kind of focusing on Morgan, but I would like to bring Jeremy into this story too because Jeremy was more of the protector of me and Morgan. And I do
Absolutely.
know that that played a role in, him coming in. So I'm glad that he brought that up. And I know I'm not supposed to be taking over. I'm gonna let you ladies jump in there, but I would like to kind of bring that into the situation as well.
Absolutely. I was going to ask, how was the interaction with Jeremy coming in? I know that there was some challenges with, Morgan, but I did was going to ask about Jeremy as well. But before you answer that one with Jeremy, how did you determine that Morgan was accepting of you? Was it her nonverbal cues, the way that she just took to you? How did you determine, or you, Paula, how did you determine, like, okay, this is the one Morgan approves?
Well, I know for me, it was, as you guys know, Morgan does not really interact. Her social
Mhm.
interaction is way off. She just wants to be familiar with me. She's familiar with Paula and Jeremy. That's her everyday interactions. And that's what she pretty much so wanted to be around. She just didn't really want to be around anyone new. So when he came in, and I saw Morgan initially, of course, she strayed away. She just stared at him and um kind of just strayed away from him like she does everybody else. But I think the biggest thing with him, and which I did like, he gave her space, but he also continued to come over. It was like it wasn't a here today gone tomorrow scenario, because as you know, with most of those kids, you have to start over from scratch every time. So I think once we started dating, we laugh about it now, but we were somewhat inseparable. He was with us just about every day. Every day we were just taking her for walks on her bike, which we laugh about that because that doesn't happen too much anymore. So he was slick on that one. Um, yeah, we would take her for walks on her bike. We would take her for rides. In most cases, it was always me, her, and Morgan. And what
Mhm.
I did is I started seeing her warm up to him. And I think one of the first times I was a little nervous because I was going out with my mom or somebody, and he was like, "I'll keep her," and I was like, "Do you know how to?" Because she's, of course, she's a developing young lady. And he might not have known, but I had cameras in the house. So periodically I would go on my phone and look at the cameras. And, because I was nervous. I was nervous. So it was something that she showed me that she was comfortable with him when I was there and when I wasn't. Because when I wasn't there, he knew how to engage her. He knew how to get her to do the things that he needed her to do. I saw him feeding her. I saw him playing games with her. So all of that, I think, played a role in me being comfortable. And then I just was like, Lord, I I knew this was him, and we'll talk about that a little more as we go on.
Yeah, Morgan and I, we have a lot of similarities, believe it or not. We want to be bothered, but we don't want to be bothered. You understand what I'm saying? Like we have our moments. Morgan wants her quiet time. I want my quiet time. Morgan wants engagement. I want engagement. So it was like a little fine balance between when to engage her, when to give her a break. And it was just pretty cool. Like she said, we did the walks and we did a lot of talking and I studied Morgan. I studied when she would get upset. I studied when she was happy. It kind of figured out the time. Like at the time, we was trying to figure out some medications she was on. When I first came around, Morgan did a lot of crying, and Paula was like, "Oh, I'm glad." She's telling me now, "I'm glad you're seeing Morgan at her worst."
Mhm.
To see if I was going to, take flight. But because all she knew was the guy in the suit at church, so she didn't really know that I would roll my sleeves up and be in this thing.
Mhm.
So I was here, and I said, "Well, I have to prove myself." I'm here. I'm here for the good times and the bad times. Whatever's going on with her, I'm here for you. I knew the background and the backstory, and I always knew that if I came around and we worked out, that she would get the needed breaks that mothers need. For like when she said she went out, I was like, I got her, I got her. She's like, you got her. So while she was gone, I'm texting her. Listen, she pottied at 6:15. I gave her a meds at 7:15. Okay, I'm about to, give her a bath at 9:15. But I would, so she would exhale and enjoy herself.
And I
Oh,
did.
that's good. That's real good. So,
Mhm.
Harp, I want to know, like, how did you handle those moments of like stress or frustration, either on your part or on Morgan's part?
I this has definitely increased my prayer life. I said, Lord, this is going to work. And it was a lot of adjusting between
Mhm.
my wife and I, between Morgan and I, between Jeremy and I. Whole lot of adjustments. You got a whole another guy coming in with habits, attitudes, noise, lack of noise, eating habits, lights on, lights off, and just different things, household stuff. But
Mhm.
everything came together. Did a lot of talking, babe, try this, try that, asking questions. Well, honey, what about this? What about that? And like I said, with prayer, praying over Morgan at night together before she went to sleep because when we first got married, Morgan was having difficulty sleeping,
Mhm.
and I'm used to quiet household and sleeping for hours. I'm talking going to bed 8 o'clock, waking up just in time for work the next day. That like sleep, sleep,
I
sleep,
know
sleep,
that
sleep.
changed. That changed
Yeah,
quickly.
oh man, immensely, immensely. I said, Lord have mercy, them days is over because I used to come in, get a nap, blah, blah, blah. The naps is gone. But, over time, things worked out. And I always said, you know what? I'm not here to be a burden. I'm here to be a help. So whatever I have to augment, change to make things smoother for Wifey and Morgan, I'm all for it.
And I will say that I thought that those things, because of, when we were dating, he told me about his life. I told him about my life. One of the things that I never wanted him to feel is that he had to come here to rescue me. I mean, of course, I would have loved it, and of course, I love this, but I wanted it to work for both of us. And in order for it to have worked for both of us, we had to have been meant to be together. God had to have appointed him to be with me. It can't be the physical and the, all of it. Can't be any of that because that fades away. Like he said, when he was used to sleeping, I was used to having a lack of sleep. He was used to going, I was used to living a restricted life. So it was a time, and I don't know if you remember, but it was a time when I was just like, listen, this is just not gonna work. I think we went to a drive-in movie theater. He had work that day. And Morgan was at her worst. She was at her worst. Guys, I begged him to leave me alone. I
Yeah.
did. I
Yeah.
was just like, just please. I
Mhm.
I appreciate, that you are a very nice guy, but this is too much. It's too much for me at times. So for you to walk into this, when you don't have to, you have other options. I'm not going to take it. I'm not going to take it in a I'm not going to feel like I'm, being slighted or mistreated.
Yep.
I respect the fact that you said, "Listen, I tried this, it doesn't work. Let me just move on." But he would not leave us alone.
Philly. Come
Yes.
on, man. Philly. Come on, man. Philly. Come
So,
on.
Yeah.
Hart, how did that make you feel listening to? You knew that, you know, you knew what you were getting into, and even
Mhm.
to see Morgan at one of her worst moments. How did it make you feel when Paula said that to you? Because at this point, you know, you had been around her for some while, some time. How did that
Well,
make you feel?
I really didn't feel any kind of way, but I knew she was coming from the heart. I knew she really felt like, buddy, you not this not really for you. You can go elsewhere and we can still be friends and be cool. But this here is just too much. It's too much for me, and for me to put it on you. And I never felt like me coming to the situation she was put me, you know what I mean, put me in. No, I'm willingly coming. I see you. I see Morgan falling out when she's trying to enter the church. She does it now with us, but I saw it in the past when Paul was by herself. I'm like, dang, she got the young boy in school, and she got Morgan, and she's beautiful, fishnets and all. I said, yo, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Stay in the pocket.
Yeah, stay in the pocket.
Stay in the pocket.
But I'm like, no. I said, Morgan deserves a dad. Paula deserves a husband. Deserves a mate. Deserves a helpmate. And I was just in it for the challenge. And like she said, we went to the drive-in, and we must have came home with 1,000 mosquitoes because I tried to take her out the car, to put her in the wagon and play with her a little bit. I mean, nothing was working. But here we are.
And I will say at that time, that was when we did not understand and know that they had her on some behavioral medication. And they just had me continuing to up it. And it was making her very depressed. And I thank God during that time, because I didn't want to talk to him about her medication. I didn't talk to him about any of that stuff because I just felt like I didn't want to divulge all of her medical business. And I didn't even know if he was going to stay. So at that time, we were on a conference call I think I was doing a video call with the doctor. And I told him, I said, she's crying a lot. I don't know what's going on. And it instantly was like, hold on, we're going to put the doctor on. And he was like in the background. He was standing around minding my business. And he was like, baby, take her off the medicine. He was like, that medicine. And he started telling me about his experience with a lot of the kids that he dealt with being on medicine. So I will say that him coming around was new eyes on Morgan. He said, take her off that medicine. The doctor took her off the medicine. And when I say, guys, she became back to beautiful Morgan. So I thank God that I had someone there that was partnering with me. I was at wit's end, but he was like, take her off the medicine. I know she was on medicine. Take her off that medicine. You don't want to. And I'm like, okay, I guess we're in this together now. And he really helped me to see different things about Morgan and helped me to understand things about Morgan that I didn't even realize. It was a whole new view on Morgan.
Oh, definitely. I think that's very helpful. Like he's looking at it from a different angle, a different perspective, and they help you see some things that maybe, because Paula, you was just like, whatever can help my kid, So I think that's beautiful and commendable, Heart. And with you guys saying that, it makes, I'm pretty sure our viewers want to know as well. It's like, you guys been married for 3 years, just celebrated your anniversary. And like, how do you guys maintain like a healthy balance between like the responsibilities of caring for Morgan and then your relationship?
Well, I'll start that. What I found out was she likes to sleep more than she thinks she does. So I said, you know what? I know I'm cranky when I don't get enough rest. She's cranky when she don't get enough rest. I said, I wonder if she could sleep in 5 days a week. How would that change the dynamic of things? So I said, you know what? Because at first, when I first came around, 5 days a week, she was jumping up 5:30, getting Morgan ready, blah, 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 blah. And then I said to myself, well, if she's doing that, it's like I'm not here. So I had to dedicate, I started off with 2 days. I said, let me try 2 days a week. I saw that kind of helped things. She was able to sleep in. She was able to do some other things. And then I don't know how we got to me doing it 5 days a week, but
because we both were getting up doing it.
Yeah.
And I get her off the bus in the evening. So he was like, babe, you know what?
She's doing double duty still.
He was like, I'll do the mornings. I said, you sure? Yeah. He was like, yeah. And when he gets up to do it, I mean, and I thank God. I always tell him this. but I truly appreciate how he helps out because he'll get up in the morning, he closes the bedroom door. Guys, do you know in most cases, I didn't even know Morgan was gone. He has it down to a science. He gives her medication. He brushes her teeth in the morning, and anybody know that's a task. He gets her out in the morning. I get her in the evenings. It's and I will say too, we even when she comes home, we used to he used to, I ain't gonna lie, he had to get used to this because he would be there with the remote watching the TV, and I'm around getting the bags together for the next day, getting the lunch together. And I think one day he said something and I just snapped. And he was like, tell me.
That's it.
And what I had to start learning is how to communicate. Hey, babe, can you do this? Hey, babe, can you do that? And what he started doing was like, hey, what I'm gonna do is, as soon as she come in, he grab her lunch. Babe, does she take lunch tomorrow? We just start tag teaming it. And I don't think any one of us have one certain job, but we just start just jumping in and tag teaming. And at the end of the day, the job gets done. Yeah.
That is just awesome. It seemed like you guys just have it all together. But I know that it was a challenge to getting to that point. But I just commend you for Harp. I commend you for, trying to figure out how to make it work and doing the work, because it's one thing to communicate the need and where help is needed, but for you to jump in and do it, that's another thing. So I commend you for coming into Paula, Morgan, and Jeremy's life and adding to it. That's commendable. It really is. And what is Jeremy saying about all of this, coming into this and being all in his sister's face?
Jeremy
be gone half the time.
Yeah.
Jeremy is gone.
He wasn't at that point.
Oh, no. That's right. At that point, he was just finishing up college.
He was in his third year.
Junior year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I think one thing that he did say, it was a process. It was a process because I will say that once we started dating, it took off. I mean, it was like we started dating within 3 weeks. He was like, you're going to be my wife. And from there, by the next year, we were getting married. So it just kind of took off. And Jeremy was like, who is this guy? Where's he coming from? He asked the questions.
I don't know him.
Yeah, I don't know him. So one thing that I love that hubby did, he just like with Morgan, he didn't overwhelm him. He didn't over impress him. He was just there. And one thing that Jeremy did say at our wedding was, he felt like me and Morgan were in the best of hands. He felt like he was going back for his senior year. And he said, I really feel like my mom and Morgan are in great hands. And I think from that time that we started dating in June up until we got married the next June, he had an opportunity to see Hart, not only with Morgan, with me. And it just, I guess he felt like I ain't got to entertain her. I could go live my life. And he did that. He did.
One thing I know for sure, Lord willing, I'll be 56 in October. The most underrated word in the world is consistency. Mm-hmm. That's how you get it done with anything. You're trying to learn something, you want something to work, you're building a relationship, et cetera, coaching, counseling, playing sports, whatever. You got to have consistency. Jeremy saw the consistency. Of course, everyone's going to have a doubt coming in. Who's this guy? Boom, boom, boom. And had I dipped in on a weekend and dipped out for 3 weeks and dipped back in on a Tuesday, no, it was Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Yo, Mom, why is he here so much?
Yeah.
But I knew my presence would let him know, to get the, the exhale, like, oh, okay, he for real. He's around. He's here. Oh, he putting up with my whining sister. Oh, he must be all right. Mm-hmm. So.
And with his bossy mom, you ain't want to say that. But I think it was definitely a balance. It was definitely a balance. Yeah. And I mean, for those that don't know, I get to travel. I went to Italy He's like, and I think this is one thing that we definitely need to bring out. I was not raised to a man go on his trip and you go on your trip, and it was always, if you did, you did together. Because this was a situation that was different, I had to learn that we had to make our household work for us. I couldn't model myself after anyone else, and I had to learn that. So when he first was going on, he loves to play softball. When he was going on a softball trip, I was having a tantrum. No, you ain't going on. And it was in Philly. And I was like, no, 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 this is not the way things, yeah, Florida. This is not the way things work. But God gave me wisdom in the way that I had to allow him to have his outlets. He gave me my outlets. We do things together. And there are times we have a calendar and he's like, babe, I got to go here this day. And I'll say, hey, I'm gonna go here this day. And then we'll plan our trips together. So I think once we came to that realization and we found out that it worked for us, I realized that this is our household and this is what works for us, and I love it. He gets to do him, I get to do me, and we get to do us together.
Absolutely. That is awesome.
Yeah.
That was definitely something to get adjusted to, because annually in January, Martin Luther King weekend, I travel with my friends they're from Philly, but we all go to Florida. And while it's cold here and cold in Philly, we in Florida with our shorts on, we playing baseball. I'm sending pictures and videos. And she's like, oh yeah. So then we talked about, she's like, well, man, I said, babe, look, this is something I do. It's innocent. I said, you're welcome to come, blah, 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 whatever. We just a bunch of boys just having fun. I said, it's an outlet. I said, I need the outlet. Mm-hmm. We work, we come home, we church, we work, we come home, we church. That's it. So you got to do more than that. She said, you know what? All right, let me try it. Well, my sister's job is boom, boom, boom. Can I go? I said, absolutely.
Yes.
Take your time. San Diego, Arizona, whatever. Go ahead, do your thing. Yeah, well, me and Cookie went, go, girl, go ahead. I got it. When she's going, we get a lot of sleep. I'm telling you. Morgan is in the bed by 8 o'clock.
The house is quiet, huh? Quiet house.
I'm back to my old ways.
Heart like, go, because we gonna get some sleep. We rest better when you gone.
Yeah. They always say I'm the problem. When I come back, him and Jeremy like, oh yeah, the house was peaceful. I'm like, yeah,
right. Same here.
Look, I feel that same way about my spouse. I be like, you bring the noise. The house was quiet. So, Harp, I understand you. I get it. And I think that was along the lines of what I wanted to ask next. It's like, you guys, I love that. That's important. I think that's important in many relationships. And it just doesn't have to be a specific of having an individual that needs a lot of care, but it could just be, you're raising children or you just having a family, to allow one another those breaks. And so I know that, and I know Paula appreciates, like Harp, I know she really appreciates this, because she gets to leave with peace. You cannot enjoy yourself going anywhere if you do not have any peace. So I know she appreciates that. But I want to talk about, like, even now, you guys just recently vacation, celebrating your anniversary. Like, talk about that support system you guys have in place, because you guys are even able to do things together and have a sense of peace. So share some of that with us tonight.
Well, sometimes we piecemeal our support together. I've always been like, when Morgan has gone to the schools, I've always kind of, when the people have kind of gotten chummy with me and with Morgan, I'd be like, do you watch kids on the weekends? And they're like, yeah. And I'd be like, okay. And so what I've done is I've formed a relationship with most of the people that work with her at school. I've kept those relationships. So what I do is we set aside money we have more, and I will say that too, and I thank God for that. We have more, us coming together is more finances, so we can do more. We can pay more. I'm not saying that we're hiring anybody. We're not paying, but we're able, that's real. When you have a special needs individual and you have people to watch them, you can't watch them for $10 an hour. As we know, You have to pay people. So what we do is I look for people at her school. She also has an awesome godmom. Her godmother, shout out to Cookie, my
Shout out to
best friend
Cook.
for over 30 something years, family basically.
Yeah.
She,
Nana.
yeah, my mom, my sister, it's
Big
sometimes,
bro.
yeah,
Auntie.
brother, it's like a tag team. We may say, hey, we're going to stay somewhere for such and such a time. We give people the dates and we make sure, hey, can you keep her? And they're like, yeah, even if it's family and friends, we pay everybody. We pay everybody because we know it takes time with Morgan. And for even my nieces and nephews, when they kept her, they could tell you, even with the show, I made sure I paid them. So I think sometimes, even with our family members, sometimes it's an incentive, you know. So, and we don't, and you want to have, like you say, you want to have somebody that you can trust. That when we were just in Aruba, we couldn't get phone service when we left our hotel, but we were at peace knowing that Morgan was well taken care of. Couldn't even had to take her to urgent care. She was right there. She knew her history. She knew everything. She was being a baby, but she was whiny, but she thought she was sick and she was fine. But even having people that know their history, that you can leave their insurance card and they can do that. I mean, we were at total peace. We were at total peace with it.
We were swimming with the fishes.
We were swimming with the fishes.
I know
Going,
that's
yeah,
right.
we just had a good time. And I know with him, again, this is fairly new because when I had people, he would be like, babe, you paying him this. I said, sugar, this is what you have to do in order to make sure. Now her godmother doesn't want a dime, but I still give her money because again, that's her time and I appreciate that.
I think it's a blessing to be able to have those resources to be able to do that. You know, many households,
Absolutely.
they're just really stuck, you
Well,
know,
that's how I
and they
was.
don't have it.
That's what I can honestly say, even though I I was manning a household by myself, funds were tight, and Morgan didn't get any aid, any state, nothing until she was 18. So when hubby came in, having those two incomes provides
Helps.
more money for you to get to do things. And I thank God for that.
That's
That
beautiful.
is good. I
Mhm.
do want to ask you, Paula, how did Hart coming into your life change everything? Not just you having an extra person to help with Morgan and financially thing, but from a personal perspective, how did all of that make you feel like how do you feel like now?
Well, I mean, I'm happy. I know that I'm extremely happy. I honestly, I know Stephanie Mills has a song, and we have our theme songs. We used to have our theme songs.
Who was that?
Never knew love like this before. Be quiet. Um, and I can honestly say that that's how I feel. I did tell him when we started dating, we used to send little texts to each other and little messages, and I did tell him having a mate was not something that I even desired. I, I I wouldn't say that I didn't desire it, but I knew with having Morgan that that was going to be a task for someone to come in and accept it. So I kind of put that in the back of my mind, like that's not going to happen. I just didn't even try, but I will say God sent me a message of me marrying someone with that was dark skinned with a beard 3 times. He did.
Wow.
He did.
Wow.
And I just discounted it as, oh, it showed that it was me, but I think it's for somebody else.
Heart fit
And
the description.
he did.
Yeah.
It was a brown skinned guy with a beard. And I just was like, Lord, I don't even see anybody in my circle like that. And he sent it a second time. And I was like, I was coming home and the person was at the door with Morgan. And I was just like, again, I don't even see that. And when he came into the picture and I started seeing things unfolding, I realized it was him.
That's
And
beautiful.
yeah, it was
Never
again,
seen a
it's
love like this. What was the song?
Stephanie Mills
What was the
never knew
song? Never
love like
seen a
this
love like
before.
this.
Yes, never knew love like
Wow.
this.
Did you
And I
tell
just
Hart? Did you tell Hart? Wait a minute! Don't even say nothing. Was he about to break out in song?
Please. He don't be singing around here. If he sing, he's singing a church song.
They call me Bishop at work. They say you too saved at work.
But I will say that it was something, honestly, my needs as a woman, for to have someone to care about you, to have somebody to think about you, to consider you. I hadn't had that in so long that it really felt good. It felt somewhat unnatural. And that's when I was just like, listen, Morgan is a lot. I understand that you have to go and move on. So if you're not going to be here, I just ask that you leave now. And we had a rule. What was our rule? You got a certain amount of time to go. If you don't go, you won't go. What was the time frame?
I can't remember,
but I told him, I said, "Oh, you getting up close to your time frame. If you ain't gone, you can't leave after this."
oh yeah.
And
Like,
so he stayed. Yeah, it's exciting. We have fun
It's a good
together.
stuck.
it is.
We do what do we with our family feud night. We started doing that.
Oh, yeah, Family Feud.
We started making time for ourselves. Jeremy would keep her. We would go out on date nights, and then sometimes we would be so tired we didn't even go out on date nights. We had date room.
Sometimes that couch in the living room would be our date night.
Yeah,
She on one hand, I'm on the other, and the remote is in my hand, and
my computer's on my lap.
we just gone.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about when we not sleep sometimes.
Oh yeah. And there are times that we had date night, and Morgan was right along with us.
Oh, it's a lot of times. We strap her in and just go ahead up to one of them stores up here on 301 or whatever.
Or going out of town to Philadelphia on some of our Philadelphia runs.
With Virginia Beach.
Yeah, Virginia Beach, me, him, and Morgan. Yeah, it was just us.
I took her to baseball. You know, baseball is my thing. I took her and Morgan so the whole park got to come over and meet Morgan. You know, they saw on social media, but to meet her up close, they like, hey, Morgan. I said, there's a lot of love for Morgan in Philly.
And that was another thing I will say. I knew he was this clean cut guy. I saw that at church. But one thing that I always felt is that sometimes, you know, and I said this with our last podcast, sometimes I felt like you could be embarrassed of her and her behaviors. And I did not ever know that he wouldn't be. That's another thing that I was concerned about. But when I tell you, he parades Morgan around in front of everybody, all of his Philly friends.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody loves
They
her.
ask about all the time.
Yeah, he is.
G Love.
I love the fact that he was not embarrassed of her. He was not embarrassed of her behavior. He really embraced it. His friends embraced it. I mean, it was just nothing. They were understanding if it was something that we went to and it was too loud or something. I mean, they were just
Uncle Bo.
Yeah, Uncle Bo with his car. Yes, Lord. But I just love the fact that not only with hubby, his family, his friends, it was almost as if we were meant to be together because everything just clicked. It just clicked. And I thank God for that. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's important because, you know, I think Paula and I have definitely talked about this, about like the impact of caring for children with special needs, how it can have on marriages. And sometimes it can cause a great stress. And it was like, while I don't have the statistics, but, you know, it can cause a high number of divorce. Sure. And so you guys are already answering that question. Like, what are some of the things to keep that down? One of the things is you guys are consistent. You know, you guys make time for yourselves, even if it's on the couch. Sometimes you include Morgan in, and sometimes you make arrangements so that it can just be the two of you guys. And so I think those are like good formulas, because I think that was a question I would ask, is like, what is something you would share with couples? You know, and I think those are good formulas. But, you know, you guys also answered like having a good support system, you know, because no one can really do this alone. So having good support to be able to leave the country, You know, some people can't
Yeah.
even go down the street to the restaurant, but you guys are able to leave the country. And so I think you guys are giving us really good nuggets to glean from, especially from others that may be listening and just having a hard time of finding their niche, finding their balance. You know what? Maybe expound on that a little bit, because Paul, you did give a little bit snippet about it when you said, you know, you had to like ask, you had to be intentional about your communication with Hart, you know, so he can know what you need. And then Hart, are you intentional about your communication with Paula? Like, Paula, what is it that you need? What do you need me to do? Or what do you need me to do for you? Or what do you need me to do for Morgan? Like, can you guys talk about that a little bit more? Because some people may be having a hard time. It's like cross wires, you
Right,
know?
right. And the biggest mistake couples make sometimes is assumptions. You know, I was
Yes.
assuming she had it. So, you know, I was just sitting back flicking channels. She might have had an arduous day at work, meetings all day or conferences or what have you. I had an arduous day at work, so I just want to come home, put my feet up. But after a while, and we have it now, and it's like, well, I just want to make sure she's okay. So what I do, jump in there, let me grab the bag. Like, for example, today, I came home, all her bags, her book bag, lunch bag, her corrective
braces,
the braces, all that stuff was just on the counter in the kitchen. I could tell that because they wasn't there, they went out. I could tell whatever happened, it was a quick rush job. She threw it there and went out. So I said, well, when she come back, at least let me just put everything in their prospective places. And that's one less thing that she has to deal with because Morgan's out of school for the next
week and a half.
For the next week and a half. So we don't need the book bag, the lunch. So I just put everything up and it was gone by the time she came back. Daily routine. I handle the morning stuff. She handles the evening stuff. But periodically she'll jump up in the morning and she'll, you know, help out. Periodically I will jump in on the evenings, especially when you guys have the live podcast on Thursdays, and I'll already have her bathed and everything by the time she gets off of the show. Instead of sitting back saying, well, I do the mornings. I ain't got nothing to do with the nights. You know what I mean? That's goofy. So things of that nature. Just, you know, I just jump right in. Nothing pre-planned and all that. Just being a help me.
Well, I will say too, the balance thing, when you say is he intentional about things that he needs? I will say, and I honestly, I'm more of the person that asks things. I can't really say things that he asks. Now, I know one thing that he always wants is a hot cooked meal. That's not always possible because if he comes in and there's no food ready, he's not the nicest.
No. Hey, cut that. Don't do
that. He doesn't say anything, but I could tell his body language.
Nonverbal.
Yeah, it's nonverbal cues that he ain't happy. And I'm like, this, yeah, whatever. I was busy today.
Sometimes I'll fast on the spur of the moment. I'll wake up and just fast, so I won't eat anything from 5:45 to about 6 o'clock when I get home. So
you may want to send that memo.
So I'm assuming that there's a hot cooked meal, and I'm gonna get down when I get in there. And I
gotta communicate that. You need to communicate that.
I get in there and end up with peanut butter and jelly. Peanut butter and jelly time.
Because as he knows, I have a very demanding job. Yeah. And so some days like this week when we came back from Aruba, I've just still been exhausted. I just haven't cooked anything. There are times that I'm like, babe, do you want something? I'll pick you up something and I'll pick us all up something. But it's just life. We're just so busy. There are times that the hampers are overloaded. He'll come and say, baby, I'll wash. Lord, I love him to pieces. But one thing I don't like is for him to wash my clothes. I'm like, I'll wash. But sometimes too, on me, I find that I'm doing Morgan's hair. I'll be the one, since she's more developing, I do more of her baths. I'm like, babe, unless you have to, I'd rather do her baths. I'm the cleaner in the house. I find myself cooking, washing clothes, then doing the finance. And so sometimes on me, I can kind of overload myself instead of saying, babe, can you do this? Or even if he washed the clothes and he don't made up the socks, the way that he should have folded towels that I like, the way that I like.
I'm manly, sorry.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm manly. I know
Maybe,
it's June, but I'm manly.
yeah, maybe I should.
Oh my gosh, Paul, as my daughter would say, he's just a guy.
I know.
Exactly.
Right, right.
100%.
But you know, when you're used to being by yourself for so long, and I like the linen closet nice. He knows I'm very organized. I like everything in a organized fashion. So it took some getting used to because he is the type that he just rolls the towels up and throw them in, and I'm like, baby, don't do the laundry anymore. You know. So,
Like,
but
I appreciate
Or
you.
he wash, and you fold.
yeah, but when you come in and there's about 10 baskets sitting on the couch waiting for you to fold, I'd rather one load at a time.
Hey, we're getting off track here.
Yeah, and then I come in and I'm like, are you kidding me? I went out for a relaxing dinner and then I come back with all this stuff. You just drop your bags and get done. But no, I appreciate him. He's come a long way domestically. Baby. Woo, he's come a long way.
Go hard.
Yeah, go hard, go hard, go
Yes.
hard. But they do.
Yes.
I give you your
I
props.
love it.
I give you your props.
Yes,
Yeah.
I love it. I just love y'all. I love your love for each other. Even, you know, the funny, the everything. I just love it. And I love that our viewers get to see, you know, someone coming in to blend a family, and it works. And it starts with consistency and communication, and that's so important. So if we was to see Morgan, you know, they have this challenge of who would the baby run to, you know, running to mom, running to dad. If Morgan had to choose, who is Morgan running to?
It depends. It depends on the environment. I will say Morgan lacks Morgan, once she comes into an environment and she's afraid, she runs to him. And I love that because one thing that I used to cry about the most to the Lord was that she did not have that man, that father there. Not talking about her dad, but she never had that man. Like the little girls have the dads that they just hug.
Yeah.
She never had that. She didn't. So I will say, when he came on the scene, if Morgan is holding my hand and we went into an environment that she was afraid, she easily let my hand go and she runs to him. She finds security in him. And when I just tell you, I love that about her. And that's just how God's plan is, where those kids, even with Morgan being nonverbal, she can honestly identify who plays what role. And I thought that was amazing. So if we go somewhere that's loud or something, she's running to him. She's grabbing his hand like, help me. And she's just like pushing me out the way. Yeah. What would you say?
I love it.
It's about right. Correct, exactly.
Yeah. Now, if it's time to cuddle.
I was about to say, she be up under you, Paula, when it's
does.
time.
She does.
The one thing she does that's pretty cool, though, when I'm sitting in my chair, and it's time for them to go upstairs for bath time, she'll lean over in my face to get the kiss before she go upstairs to go to bed.
She does. She does.
I get so tickled off of that.
Yeah, she does.
I'm like, yo, you are hilarious.
Yeah.
She's like, give me my kiss, I'm going to bed.
And we all have our time with her, like with bath time. I've made that to where that's me and Morgan's time. You know, I'm notioning her because when he would give her a bath, as us women, we like to do the softer things. And I make her like a spa bath. He'll give her a bath. It'd be like 10 minutes. I'll be like, she finished already? So
get in and get out.
That's him.
And without records.
Yeah.
Isn't that the dad's way to do it, though?
Yeah. For me, I like to give her that cuddle time. And so I think we both played different roles in her life at different times. He was the one that did dinner time every day. It was always, he did dinner. I did bath time. He did dinner. And then what we would do is swap it. If he did dinner, I did baths. If I did dinner, he did baths.
I like that.
Yeah. So I think we both play a different role in her life at different times. Yeah. He'll
Oh,
even, one thing that I do love is this is one of the things that I thought about. It may be a little deep, but even when she's ministrating, he does it all. He does it all. There's nothing I would say that's off limits. Would you, babe?
No, I'm a child.
but isn't that for the caring
That's
of
dad.
someone? That's
Mhm.
that's
Hmm.
that's if you're caring for someone,
Hmm.
that's how you care for them. That's how your love is showed. I've
Mhm.
seen where
Absolutely.
siblings have to care for their sister or brother, and nothing is off limits. That's how
Right.
they have to care for their sibling, and I wouldn't expect less from a parent. So I believe that that's beautiful, that's lovely and hard. I mean, I tell my husband everything. I be like, this is so I don't know why I say it like this, but I be like, David, I might not be here. So your girls might have questions, and you could be like, your mom used to tell me this. So this could be it or that.
Yeah.
I just keep him in the loop of everything because, he's
Mhm.
dad. And I, like Paula just explained, sometimes girls go to dad. It's that security. And, dads might get them uncomfortable situations, because as a mom I get them too with boys. I get
Sure.
those
Hmm.
uncomfortable situations.
Right.
So I
And,
think, and we got to handle it. We got to keep going.
I've worked with so many youth over the years in Philadelphia, even here in Maryland when I first moved here. And I've worked with so many unloved children.
Mhm.
Unloved children. I mean, you would be surprised.
Mhm.
And the reason why they act out, and then because I did corrections for 9 years in Delaware, and when I say unloved, I've seen kids that never got visits,
Wow.
didn't get visits, and we're in there for like 6 months to a year, no visits, or if they got a visit, it was cold. It was a cold
Mm.
visit. They just sat on the opposite end of the table and didn't say a word. I'm
Wow.
like, wow.
Mhm.
And the stories of the abuse and all that kind of stuff, man, listen, this thing would go viral if I started talking about that stuff. I mean, unloved, unloved. So, in coming into Morgan, we can't, engage verbally. So everything has to really be extra with the physical and the nonverbals and the caring and the activities and the attention. You have to go overboard with that part because we can't just express it. Like with humans,
Right.
I can tell I love her all day and not show it. I
That's
Mm.
can't even
right.
tell Morgan I love her. I have to
You got to
show it.
show her in your
Got to
actions.
show it. That's right.
Hmm. Hmm.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I believe she definitely feels it.
Oh yeah, for
Oh,
sure.
Morgan
Yes.
is loved.
Yes, yes
God
he
is
is.
good.
Yes he
God
is.
is
Yes.
good.
Yes he is.
Yes.
He's definitely, like I tell him all the time, everybody couldn't have played this role, and God knew that.
That's right.
Um, everybody couldn't have
Yep.
done it. I mean, and
That's
I've
right.
had people to, come at me like I would like to date you, and I can accept Morgan. I'm like, do you understand that she has a say in this matter? That was just not something that I would ever just subject my daughter to just to have someone. And that's one thing that I hope people really take from this. You have to really, really be prayerful and really understand your child to know that you shouldn't just bring anybody around your child. I never did that with Jeremy, let alone Morgan. It's no way I would have done that because those having my children in a safe, quiet, and harmonious household was so important to me. And
Yeah,
for me, either someone can bring the love in or they can bring the turmoil.
that's
A
right.
lot of yeah, and in it shows in your children. I know Jeremy could have probably spoken it to me like, Mom, this was something I don't like. And Morgan couldn't. It's gonna come out in her
Right.
actions.
Mhm.
So for
Right.
me, even being by myself, I felt as though that was something, if I had to do that in order for Morgan to have a peaceful household, because I look at her like she's going to be with me forever. that's what I would do. I had no problems with that. I had
I
no
like
problem.
that you I like that you said that, Paula, because I was going to ask you that question because there are some women out there that are so lonely, tired,
Mhm.
dealing with their kiddos with special needs that they would just entertain any male and bring them into their home. So I'm so glad that you said that because it's
Mhm.
important to really know your child, know their nonverbal cues, and just pay attention to everything and to be prayerful and to
Mhm.
listen to the voice of God because if you don't and you bring into, you bring someone into your home, it can either, bring, like you said, turmoil. It can just be the worst situation, not only for you, but for your child. So I'm so glad that you brought that up and that you waited on the Lord and that He sent you the right man for you and your children,
Yeah.
especially Morgan, and a
Mhm.
understanding man that wanted to learn, that put the work in, that showed that consistency even before. So that's key, Harp, that you even shared that about consistency because it takes that to build relationships. And I know in ABA therapy, it takes pairing is what they call it. You pair with the therapist and the kid, you've got to pair together, build a
Mhm.
relationship. And I love that you paired with Morgan and you built that relationship
Yeah.
first with Morgan, and then you focused on that beautiful thing that's sitting next to you, that beautiful woman. I love the story.
That
I think
beautiful.
that yes, I just think that this was so the message was so valuable with single women and having kids with special needs on, waiting for that right person that's going to come into your
Mhm.
life and add to it. And that's what Harp has done. He's added to
Mhm.
every part of your life and
Mhm.
just made it beautiful. And what was it? A love that you've never felt before?
Never knew love
It's
like this
beautiful.
before. I think I
Never knew
would
love like this before.
say, and
That is
I
beautiful.
will say this, for those that are out there, I was by myself for 14 years. 14 years. I was doing it all. I was doing the doctor's appointments. I was doing the school visits, not just for Jeremy, but for Morgan. I was ripping
Hmm.
myself in half, being what I needed to be for both of them. And sometimes you do get lonely. You do get down. You do get because at the end of the day, you feel like who's taking care of me? So don't ever feel as though you're alone. You're not. We all go through that. But
Yes.
at the end of the day, you want peace for your children. You want peace in your home.
Yes.
So I just always tell people, some women that I've met, they'll say, "Where did you find him?" I said, "Jesus sent him. Jesus sent him to me." And I will say, not only has he been a blessing to me, to my household, he's been a blessing to advocacy. For years, guys, I knew God had a plan for me, but God, I didn't have the time. I didn't. Between going and doing all the stuff for them, He's freed up my time so that God's plan for advocacy has been able to unfold. So
Absolutely.
I definitely want to add that in there too. He has been he's been my cheerleader. He's been right here encouraging me with advocacy from day one. Didn't know how I was going to get started, but he freed up my time so that I was able to do that. And I thank God for that.
Just beautiful. And
It
look at
is.
you, a Ravens fan now, going to the football games.
Girl, listen, if you can't beat them, you join them. He
Gotta
helped me to
join
learn basketball. I do football. I'm a sports fanatic now.
Look
Yeah.
at
That is
that.
just awesome.
So it
Yeah.
is. And so as we're about to close out and have our final remarks, I can truly say that, tonight, having Paula and Harp on and sharing their journey of coming together and caring for Morgan, one of my greatest takeaways is Harp's commitment to his family and to raising Morgan. I think he's
Absolutely.
expressed that tonight, and I think that's huge. And I think it's also encouraging if someone is single and you know they're in a situation where they're raising an individual that have disabilities, that you know they can still be hopeful,
Yes.
you know, that all hope is not gone. Is there someone out there that could be a help to me and to my family? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So Bunny, do you have any final remarks?
I've said everything. Just I see Harp at church, and what he is sharing here is what I see. Harp, you are an inspiration to a lot of men out there, and I hope that they are definitely looking at you in a setting where, wow, I think I could do that. I think I could love like that, you know, just to give them a different way of looking at a single mom and her kid that has a disability, that it's not taboo, but, you know, they can grow to love and to understand. So I commend you. I see you and Paula dealing with Morgan, and then I see you dealing with Morgan. So I appreciate how you've, you know, added and love Morgan beyond everything. Like, that's your daughter. That is
Yes.
your daughter, and Jeremy is your son. So
Yeah.
I'm just happy. So do you guys have any last words and encouragement for the viewers?
Thanks for the opportunity to share. And also, it's ironic you said that about the last piece you said about inspiring other men, because I get a lot of comments and kudos. I got some hardcore friends, and a lot of them, you know, they're not into the, you know, emotional type deal, but they
Hmm.
really say from the bottom of my heart they appreciate me, they look up to me, they see, you know, how I'm handling the situation, they love it for me, they love it for us, they love it for Morgan and Jeremy, and it's just a blessing. It's a blessing to be a blessing.
I
Yes.
love it.
I echo that.
Yes.
I echo that. And I do thank God that we have this platform so that we can encourage others. I mean, we're just encouraging people from all different aspects of their lives, relationships, from medical, everything. So I thank God that we're able to share our story. And guess what, guys? This is not just our story, this can be your story. You just pray, you seek God.
Absolutely.
I didn't do anything special other than raise my kids. And I just stayed in tune with him. And I thank God that I know the voice of the Lord. And even when I didn't know it, I went back a second time and said, Lord, show it to me again. Lord, come at me again. So I just always say, again, just stay in tune with God. And then ultimately watch your special needs individuals so that you can know, this ain't gonna work for them, this may work for them, this, so that you, even though they're nonverbal, that does not mean that they're not speaking. So be in tune with your child and let your child let you know if this is the one for your family, because I do believe that God speaks through our children. So I will just encourage those that are holding on, keep holding on, there is hope.
Yes. So we appreciate Paula and Harp tonight. And to our audience, we'll
Yes.
see you next Thursday, same time, same
Yeah.
place. Have a
Yeah.
good one.
All right.
Bye, everybody.